Hello, advisors, and welcome back to day 11 of the 14-day Business Advisory Bootcamp. And we're diving into one of the most important parts of your toolkit, strategic planning. Strategic planning is more than just creating a to-do list. It's about setting a clear direction for a business, making sure that every action that the business owner takes aligns with their long-term goals and keeps everyone on their team accountable along the way. So let's go ahead and break that down together. Today's presentation is sponsored by Coleman Tanner Consulting, your source for strategic business solutions. All right, by the end of today's session, you're going to be able to facilitate strategic planning sessions, use tools like a SWOT analysis and OKRs, align daily actions with long term vision, and help your clients plan proactively, not reactively. With a strong strategic plan in place, they will know exactly what's next and why it matters. Strategic planning, by the way, this is my superpower. I got an A in strategic planning in grad school, and it's my favorite topic. Strategic planning is the process of defining where a business wants to go and how it's going to get there. It's about making decisions that prioritize the company's vision, their resources, and competitive advantage, which is always changing. Think of the strategic plan as creating a GPS for the business. And without it, your client might make some wrong turns that could take them to chaos, to destruction, to turning the business into a turnaround situation or even bankruptcy, and make them waste time and burn through their resources, which are all terrible things that no business owner wants. So having the GPS in place, which is the strategic business planning, it helps steer them in the right direction so that they can accomplish the goals that they set to accomplish, which is always changing, always evolving as the company grows. Just like we evolve through time, the company is going to evolve through time, and the strategic planning helps to have that vision and make those modifications as the company is growing. All right. Without a clear strategy, businesses tend to operate reactively instead of proactively. That means that they're constantly putting out fires over here and over there instead of building momentum towards something meaningful. A strategic plan keeps them focused and aligned and able to measure their progress. Now, let me pause here for a second and say and elaborate on measurements. It is critically important that your business owner clients are measuring their progress in all capacities inside of their business. So if you think of a chair has four legs, let's just say that the main four legs of any business and the four legs of their chair, if their business is a chair, to draw an analogy, um, one leg could be operations, the other leg is finance, the third leg over here is marketing and sales, and let's say the fourth leg is accounting. And without these four legs stable, the business is going to teeter and eventually fall and collapse, right? Because it needs stability. And so measuring in each of these capacities, your human resources department, your legal department, risk management, risk mitigation, contracts, intellectual property, your chief information officer, ensuring that your company is not going to get hijacked by some cyber attack, and to ensure that everybody's utilizing the systems properly, making sure that the intellectual property is registered and patented and trademarked. Your accounting department is overseeing the finances and ensuring that you're meeting your objectives, your financial goals, looking year over year at your performance to determine what are your strengths and weaknesses, right? Financially, where are you leaking money in the business? All of these things matter, and so all of these things need to be measured in order to ensure that the company is hitting their targets and they're competing well in the marketplace, because you can look at the benchmarks of other companies and compare that against your own performance, right? So you have two different types of measurements taking place. You have the measurements against the benchmarks of the industry, and then you also have the measurements year over year or month over month inside of your business. And these measurements, these two things to track, will help the department managers and help the administration, the leadership team, the board of directors guide the company strategically towards their long-term goals. It is critically important. And that's why I wanted to pause there for a minute and emphasize the type of measurements that you should be seeing and helping your business owner clients see as well inside of their business. It's important for every business, no matter what industry you're in. Okay, the strategic plan also helps them to say no to distractions that don't serve their goals. Now, I'm guilty of shiny object syndrome, and I know that everybody else listening to this probably is as well. So we get distracted by these things that are appealing to us. It's think of it like an interesting lure that you use if you're fishing, to draw another analogy. The fish looks at the lure and is attracted to it and goes after it. Well, we're kind of like that too. We're like, oh, look, there's a lure over there. We don't say lure. We're like, oh, look at this new technology that's over there. Oh, look at what this company's doing over there. Look at what this person is doing on social media. Social media, you get on your phone and you start scrolling on Instagram, like, oh, look at this. And you can go down a rabbit hole instantly because something appealed to you and then your mind went to go explore it. So the strategic plan helps you get refocused, right, on your goals so you don't get taken into a rabbit hole of distractions. All right. I think I've hampered enough on the importance of strategic planning. So, how does this help you help them? As an advisor, you're not just helping them to plan their next 12 months, 6 months, quarter, the month, week, daily activities, but you're helping them to protect their time. You're helping them to protect their energy so that it's focused and centered and concentrated properly. And you're also helping to protect their resources because as well as I do, that every small business has a limited amount of financial resources unless the business owner happened to win the lottery and now you've got $700 million to play with in your business. That's not the case for most people. We have to protect our resources. And so the strategic plan is one of those frames to keep the business operating within its parameters, right? You're like, think of if you're going bowling and you want your child to get the ball all the way down the lane, you put up your guardrails, right? You put up those bumpers so that the ball won't go into the gutter and end up going down the drain, so to say, right? It goes down in the bottom, no pins are hit. But the bumpers keep the ball moving inside of the lane to knock down some pins at the end of the lane. So the strategic plan will function essentially like bumper rails to keep the business within within the framework that you have established on the strategic plan, so that the company's resources, aren't wasted. All right. Now, the core components of a strategic plan include the following items: vision and mission, goals and objectives, strategies, action plans, and KPIs. Did you know that businesses with clearly defined strategic plans and key performance measurements are twice as successful as businesses without them? Most strategic action plans will have the vision and mission, which includes why the business exists and where it's going. The goals and objectives help measure targets that define success. How many widgets are you going to sell? How many loans are you going to close? How many homes are you closing on? The strategies are high-level approaches to reach those goals. The action plans are the specific steps, step by step, the deadlines of when those steps need to be accomplished, and the responsibilities, the delegation of who is going to do what. And the KPIs, the key performance indicators, help the business owner track progress. Did I achieve this goal? Did I accomplish this task? Did I make that phone call? Did I close the loan? Did I get the paperwork that I needed to get the loan clear to close? And so on and so forth. And when you walk through your clients through these processes, these step-by-step action action plans and strategies and frameworks and goals and objectives and the mission and the vision and the strategic plan at large, then you're not just giving them a paper with a plan on it, but you're giving them a framework from which they will make decisions that impact their business on a daily basis. So, as a business advisor, your role is to facilitate this process. You're going to keep your clients' goals realistic and measurable. Remember the SMART goals? And you're going to help them ensure that their action plan is achievable, right? Because you're double checking it for them. And you're going to bring in reality. You're going to say, yes, you can achieve this. You have the resources to accomplish this goal. Or you're going to say, no, the goals that that you're trying to reach are not reachable with the resources that you have. They're great vision. How would you say? Theoretically speaking, they're fantastic, but we have to be practical here, and you don't have the resources yet to accomplish those goals. So let's dial it back a little bit. Excuse me. Let's dial it back a little bit and let's go for a smaller goal and another smaller goal and a third smaller goal so that we can move ourselves up towards reaching that bigger goal that you want, right? Okay. So you're going to be the one that helps them also avoid blind spots, because you know how it is as a business owner. You get so caught up with activities of what we call being in the trenches that you forget to see what's coming, down the road, right? So, or from the sides, right? Your periphery is your blind spots. You're like a horse with blinders on. You're running in your lane and you can't see what's going on to the left or to the right of you. And so you as a business advisor, you help open their eyes to see those blind spots and you help them keep the plan moving forward. I'm sorry, let me take a sip of water here before I choke on you here and stop talking. Mm, water is so important. Love water. Okay, so remember that strategic planning is not a one-time event. It's an ongoing process, and you're going to help them refine their strategic plans over time. When it comes to strategic planning, here's a few traps to watch out for. Number one, don't overcomplicate the plan. If it's too long or too detailed, it will not be followed. Number two, don't ignore data. Good strategies are informed by facts, not by gut feelings. And number three, make sure that you don't forget to hold them accountable to accomplishing their goals. Because if no one owns any action steps, then they're not going to happen. They just won't take place. As the business advisor, you can help your clients keep things clear, practical, and actionable. And that's the most important thing that you can do for them. When you're guiding a client through strategic planning, the quality of your questions determines the quality of their answers and ultimately their strategic plan. So here are a few questions that you'll want to explore when you're conducting a strategic plan. Where do you want the business to be in 1, 3, and 5 years from now? What are the top 3 priorities that will move you toward that vision? What strengths can we leverage? And what weaknesses do we need to address? What threats or risks could derail this plan? And how can we prepare for them? And what resources, which include people, money, and tools, will we need to succeed? These questions don't just gather information, they help the clients think in a way they probably haven't thought of before. Strategic planning isn't something that you do once and forget about it. It is a cycle. Here's a cadence that I recommend that you use when you're consulting with your clients. Annually, you want to review and refresh the overall strategic plan. Then quarterly, you want to conduct a check-in on their goals, make adjustments to their strategies to accomplish their goals, and set some new priorities based on what's happened in the past quarter. And then monthly, you want to track their KPIs, review their progress. How are they going? Are they at a 1, a 3, or at a 5 on a scale of 1 to 5? 5 is A, they got an A, they got it done. 3 is a C, they're kind of getting things done, but they could move a little bit better. And a 1 is an F, they did not accomplish this assignment. Okay? And then you want to address any roadblocks that they've encountered. What's the roadblock? Why is this happening? And how can we fix it? How can we get this roadblock out of the way so they can move forward? Right? Okay. And then weekly, if the client is paying you to meet with them on a weekly basis, well, then you can touch base with them every Friday. Let's say every Friday or every Monday, whatever it is, or every Wednesday, whatever it is. Touch base with them. Maybe even have a team meeting with their key players, and come up with action items to move the needle forward. This rhythm, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually. That rhythm will keep the plan alive, top of mind, which means relevant, right? Top of mind for each person who has a stake in the business. Instead of creating a strategic plan once a year, sticking in a file, putting on the shelf, and then let it collect dust. That does no good for nobody. The rhythm keeps the plan alive. Weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually. I'm a musician, so I love rhythm. Okay, I used to play rhythm guitar. All right, anyway, here are some tools that you can use to achieve your strategic action plans. This doing this will help the business owners be more effective and make the plans more engaging. Number one is a SWOT analysis. You have to identify their strengths, their weaknesses, their opportunities, and their threats. And number two is OKRs. What are their objectives and their key results that they're looking for measurable progress? All right. So you have SWOT, objectives and key results. You have a balanced scorecard. You can track the performance across multiple business areas, which is very important. And then you have strategic planning software programs that can help them to communicate their strategic plans with their team. Software programs like Trello, Asana, Notion, or ClickUp can be used to both organize and track the action steps of all of the key players inside of the plan. And then your goal is to choose the tools that will match your client's working style, right? So that they'll actually use them. Because if they're not comfortable with using Trello, for instance, then they're not going to do it. So you got to find a tool that appeals to them. Even if it's just like if you see on the slide here, next to business model canvas and mind maps, you've got a graphic design, right? That's called a graphic organizer or a mind map. And if or it's a brainstorming tool. And if they want to use a piece of paper and draft ideas down like that, if that's what's comfortable for them for creating action plans, then use a paper and a pen to create those action plans. Because at the end of the day, if the person is not comfortable using a resource, they're not going to use it. So make sure that you align them with something that they feel comfortable with, that they're intrigued, it appeals to them, so that they'll do it. Remember, the best tool is the one that gets used constantly. All right. Here are a few pro tips for new business advisors. When it comes to just blah, 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 pardon me there, when it comes to strategic planning, there are a few things that I've learned the hard way that can save you and your clients time and reduce frustration. Number one, keep it simple, right? Follow the KISS method. Keep it simple, silly. Keep it simple and facilitate. Don't lecture. All right. Your clients, they need guidance. They don't need to be strong armed in order to complete these tasks. If your plan number two, if you plan, I'm sorry, if your plan is too long or too complicated, they're not going to follow it. So you want to aim for clarity and simplicity over this idea of perfection. Number two, make it visual. People can understand figures using charts and diagrams and timelines a whole lot easier than reading a bunch of numbers on a spreadsheet, right? So you take the spreadsheet information and you create some dashboards, visual dashboards, right? Charts, diagrams, timelines to help them understand the information and help make it much more memorable. Memorable, easy to digest, easy on the eyes, easy on the mind. And number three, recap action steps and tie everything to measurable outcomes. Here's the action plan. Here's the measurements that we're looking for. Because if you can't track it, you can't improve it. And lastly, build in accountability. You can offer strategic planning as a premium weekly service if they're willing to pay for it, and that will help them to stay on track. Accountability is so important when you're trying to accomplish big goals. Clarify if you can't meet with them on a weekly basis, have them clarify who's doing what and who's going to check in to make sure that they did what. Okay? Because every action step needs an owner and it needs a deadline. So every action that needs to take place in a business needs an owner and it needs a deadline. So they need to clarify who's going to do what. Who is going to do what? Who's the owner? Who's the deadline? Okay. I think I've hammered that one enough. All right. Without both of those things, the business owner is just engaging in wishful thinking. It needs to be narrowed down, granular, at the granular level, in order for it to become an action plan, right? And that's what moves the needle forward. Okay. Your job is to check in with them, whether it be on a weekly, a monthly, or a quarterly basis, or even if it's only once a year, depending on the frequency that the client is willing to pay for, obviously. Your job is to verify that the things that they said they're going to do are getting done. That's all you can do, is clarify, what did you say you're going to do? Did you do this? Why not? What are you going to do next? All right. And then you want to revisit the plan as often as possible, preferably every week, right? Because plans lose relevance when they're not updated. So you want to encourage your clients to review and adjust their plans on a regular basis, preferably every week. They should probably spend Mondays as the CEO of their business. They should probably spend Monday mornings reviewing and revising their plan. Look at what happened last week. What were the measurements? What got done? What didn't get done? Why? Fix it. Who's in charge? Who's going to do it? When are they going to do it? Boom. Delegate and move forward, right? And move on. Remember, your job isn't to just create a great, beautiful, attractive, strategic action plan on a document and hand it over and say, good luck with that. Your job is to make sure that that plan lives in your client's day-to-day business operations. And if you do that, my friends, you're going to be a fantastic business advisor. All right. Today's homework assignment is going to walk you through creating a basic strategic action plan for your client. You'll start with a SWOT analysis. So you go to your textbook, look at the ChatGPT prompt in the workbook for today's lesson for day 11. And the second step, you're going to define their vision. You're going to help them set 3 to 5 measurable goals, outline the strategies that are going to help them achieve those 3 to 5 measurable goals, and Assign clear responsibilities. Who is going to do what by when? By practicing this activity, you'll be ready to guide a real client through the process with confidence, with clarity, and with conviction. All right. And lastly, when you're done with your homework assignment, I want you to post any thoughts, questions, insights, or suggestions inside of the comments of this video so that we can all learn together. And you'll earn bonus points for that, which will in turn lead to free swag or other special offers down the road. Okay. So we're tracking you, we're watching. So make sure you put those comments inside so that we can give you the points that you deserve. All right, my friends. Well done today. Thank you so much for being here and for sharpening the saw so that you can be a great business advisor and help small business owners succeed. What you do is very important, very, very important. And I'm proud of you all. So when we help business owners align their goals, measure their progress, and help them clarify their action steps for short-term success, magic happens. This concludes our lesson for today. I'll see you back for day 12, where we're going to dive into cash flow forecasting. Bye for now.